He's got himself a mic stand. Now, I know you all were hoping for me to continue to try and find new ways to keep my mic stable. Well, I think we're done, folks. I think we might be finished. This mic stand is an absolute triumph. And to be honest, I don't know why I didn't buy it sooner. Because it's got a... I don't know why I thought it was going to be incredibly expensive. It was like €22. So I'm truly blessed. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do if I ever get... When I don't... There's a large... When I say large, there are guests planned. They are planned. They are in the works. And this summer is going to be a big one. Oh, saying that, some huge news that has taken the world by storm. Is it the global economic crisis? Is it the bloody vicious war going on in Ukraine as brothers in arms battle for their homelands? Or is it a Hollywood superstar and his now ex-wife publicizing their entire relationship in the hope of a large financial settlement? It's the third one. Yeah. Man, Amber Heard, right? People know PDPT. PDPT, and PDPT. He's coming over in about 10 days, so expect an episode with Phil. Phil, if you're listening, I'm making you come on for at least a moment. But Phil's favourite movie is Never Back Down. Even saying that. Not that it's a bad... Actually, it's a bad film. It's just gas. It's just such a classic American, like, high school. Would you say Chuck? Huh? Except everyone's doing fucking scissor kicks and putting each other in arm bars. But Amber Heard is in that, and she's the how do I say it? She's the leading lady. And when you're 14 and you see her and she's supposed to be 16 in brackets, because she's the fucking body of a I don't know what age she was in it, but in all those movies, even in like Transformers, they're like, I'm going there as a 15-year-old and they're all supposed to be like the same age. Megan Fox is there, like, most outrageous rig I've ever seen, and you're like, I don't have the hardware to be able to work on a project like that, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I remember her from that movie, and then nothing for did I see her in anything else? No. And then suddenly I didn't even know she's married to Johnny Depp. And then I just see Divorce Time. I'm not going to go into it too much purely because I don't give a fuck about it enough, if I'm totally honest. But the fact that this thing is on the news and has been like every day publicized and like, such a big topic conversation around the world, and there's a war going on. Not that I'm like, everyone focus on the war. Do you know what I mean? I'm not that guy, but it's just mad that this is such huge news. It's just like a divorce settlement. Yeah, but it's just the amount of publicity it gets, and it's like, it's just a bit of a fucking car crash. Like, speaking of a car crash, people will know the description of this podcast. How the fuck am I supposed to... You're a listener. Hey, subscribe, by the way. There's a big red button. If you're watching on YouTube, it says subscribe. Go over to it. Tap it on its shoulder. Say hello. I'm going to hold on. Hope you tapped it. Anyway, when I was starting this podcast, most platforms require a description. What is this podcast about? Now, you've listened to, I hope, at least one of these Do you know? I don't know. Like, it's hard enough for someone to ask me, oh, my podcast, cool, what do you talk about? Well, it's a podcast, you must talk about something. Yeah, sometimes. But anyway, the description of my podcast is: a car crash may not have killed Lily and James Potter, but it's certainly a good way to describe this podcast. Now, a couple of reasons. I'm a grown Harry Potter fan. I have the Deathly Hallows tattooed on my arm to remind me power rots. And, that you don't need him. Harry was powerful enough and had all the Deathly Hallows at one point at his disposal. So he was the most powerful wizard. But he disposed of them because no one needs to be the most powerful. Anyway, to my right, to your left on the screen, on the screen here, on top of the visually impaired creations, you will see a chocolate frog. Those familiar with Harry Potter will know it's a popular confectionery item. You saw it in the first movie. When they try to eat it, jumps on the window, jumps out of the train. Anyway, our lovely friends in Marbella, Sarah and Anto, shout out the lads. They're definitely not listening. Better things to be doing. They got me a chocolate frog when they were in Universal. And so I got it there on Monday, I think. And I opened it and I was like, I don't care about the chocolate. It doesn't matter. But the card, I was like, fuck, I wonder who I'd like to get. And I had a little think there in the gym before I opened it. And I put a story up of it. And in there, I put a Dumbledore. And sure enough, remove the chocolate frog, and there he is with his milky bloodshot eyes. Albus Dumbledore. So there he is. I'm in his eye line right now. He's looking over me. Harry. So yeah. Man, it gave me such a great idea. Whenever I have a full setup for the podcast, I'm going to have a load of digital fake frames that look like the frames from Harry Potter, the moving heads. It's a good idea, isn't it? It'd be creepy. But yeah, just got to get more than double figure listeners first. But we'll get there. In the meantime, a few things I want to talk about. Some of you, by the title, will know I'm going to talk about a competing podcast out there, folks. Competing podcast. Obviously, right now we're neck and neck with Joe Rogan, just trying to establish a number one spot. But now a new guy's popped in, so we will discuss him later. But before that, for the first time in my life, I put on the Formula One last weekend, and the only reason it just got me thinking at how fucking remarkable the job Netflix did with F1 Drive to Survive. I don't know whose idea it was. I don't know if F1 were like, hey, you need to come in and document this because we feel like we're not fulfilling our potential. Hydration. But I talked about this in the Paddy Pimlet podcast as well, where investing in content is everything. And Formula One now from watching the show, I'm like, how fucking interesting is this? You've got all the personalities, you've got the pressure, you've got different teams vying for different positions, you've got potentially people are going to crash, you've got inter-driver relations, they're going back and forth with each other, there's shit tons of money involved, it's cutthroat, people are getting cut the whole time, there's backhand dealings, it's fucking unbelievable. And they have nice jumpsuits. What else do you want? But I really like him. Now, listen, I watched the live. It's a bit fucking dry, yeah. Drive for F1 Drive to Survive. They do it right 'cause you get the fucking best highlights. But watching it, being able to be like, there's George Russell. I wonder how he's doing now with Mercedes. And then you're like, oh, there's Max. Oh, he better settle down with his driving. God, a bit of a nutter. So yeah, they've done it. And then the owners, like the Red Bull owner, that little English fella, who thinks he's class. I think he's a wanker. And then the Haas guy, who doesn't know what he's doing. What do I do? He's fucking unbelievable. And like he seems like he doesn't know have a breeze, but doesn't get fired. So like I'm invested in all these personalities. So it's encouraging for a filmmaker like myself to see like now people are going to see even more like the value of content. Do you know what I mean? And just when people can learn about the people behind the driving, that's the money. Same thing with like, I was thinking like Netflix need to do a hockey one and then an NHL one, because if you've got people investing in the personalities and like this is fucking Buddy from Canada and he plays for whoever, and we hear his story of coming up wanting to play hockey his whole life, and then like he was undersized and you know getting bullied, but he's a skillful player, and he had the coach that said, believe in yourself, buddy, you can do it. And we get all that footage and the mum being like, I'm driving to practice. I'm trying to practice every week. You're such a good boy. And you go do it now. You go fulfill your destiny. They've gone southern. I was going Canadian, but okay. And if you saw that, and then like he's now playing for an NHL team, and you follow one team and he's in it. So you've got like a couple personalities you focus on, like the skill guy, the smaller guy, an enforcer, like a captain, and then the coach. So you're like, because the whole time when there's a fight on and like one of our guys is about to score and gets taken out by another player, you're like, and then whoever, Hank, the enforcer, you're like, Hank, get in there, and they beat the shit out of him. You're fucking pumped in. You're getting invested in it because NHL has all the recipe for unbelievable sport. I've watched a few games live. You're allowed to fight each other. So imagine you're just watching someone on Netflix and it's like you have the intensity of like coaching and training and like changing room footage and like guys before games and injury and all that kind of stuff, the mentality. And then in the game you've got the craziest fans. Fans are kicking the shit out of each other. And then in the game you've got like goals, you've got different lines. There's like, you know, it's constantly intense. It's fast paced, and then people are fighting in high definition now on Netflix. You've got 40 cameras pointed at two men bare fist fighting on swords on ice. It seems smart to me. Netflix should just be like, I'm going all in on sports. Give me a darts one. Let me see the life of darts, but I'd actually watch that. It'd be a lot of creamies. A lot of creamy pints. What's with everyone fighting each other now as well on social media? Every Tom, Dick and Harry now with a TikTok following in Dublin is like, I want to box you. I want to box someone. Imagine that, man. Imagine the Parapod went in and fucking scrapped someone. But listen, I'll tell you what would be with me. There'd be no promises made in terms of ability, but pack a lunch. You pack yourself a lunch, because I want people to leave being like, oh, I was in a scrap there. I got long arms. Now, if it was MMA and it was Sammy the Squid, we've got a different problem. Me and the lads like to talk about our MMA alter egos, and Sammy the Squid would be mine. I think as the music would need to be something like either someone drowning, like just like just that sound, and maybe like babies crying, and then like two lads, my coaches, would push me out. I'd be submerged totally in a murky what's it called? What's fucking like a tank, like a fish tank. they'd push me out in that, and I'd be like in like amongst some seaweed or something in the tank, so people can't really see me, and then I'd like flit in and out to the edges of the glass and like scare the audience, and I'd come in. Now, the cutmen, etc. I'd obviously get out then to like gasps and screams from the crowd, soaking wet, sopping wet, nude, and then the cutman would do his work, try to do his work, but there would just be gelatin, and he'd try to like rub fucking Vaseline into my eyebrows, but it would just slip off. Also, it would get stuck in my gills. So we haven't just established yet if I am an amphibious creature or not. I think it's half and half, like a hybrid. So then I get in, kind of flop my way up the stairs, and then like dolphin dive into and start like circling the octagon, splashing everyone. I'd love it. It'd be great if there was a little bucket they brought me in, and then just as it starts, they just like throw me out into the octagon, and that we start. Fight style wise, it's drowning without water. I mean that. They'd come in, because I'm not actually a solid creature. I'm essentially all liquid, like plasma, or like a jellyfish. Like there is something there, but it's almost ungrabbable. Definitely not fightable. And then I would, when he gets close enough, I'd either just slither my way over to him, and then get up to his neck, and he can't really get me off because there's nothing to grab. Do you know what I mean? I'm almost an entity. So I would drown whoever it is, and then the ref can't even really pull me off. He like throws a towel on me and tries to like dry me out, and that kind of lets me know that I'm done. And then my coaches need to come in and kind of catch me, they have all the relevant equipment. They need to kind of cage me again. And then they get me back into my aquarium then. And then Dana would give me the belt, and he just drops it into the water, and it disappears into the darkness. Weight classes is tough. It's a tough question. I guess I could fight at as heavy or as light as I want, which would allow me to essentially house all the belts. So I'd fight. I'm also genderless, so I can fight the women and the men. So I think I'd go smallest first, then heaviest, just to scare everyone. So I'd take out, who is it right now? Carla Esparza at the 125, or at the 115. So straw weight. So I go in, I'll drown Carla. They don't die. I haven't established if I actually kill, because the rule in the UFC is you can actually, like, if someone dies because of a kick to the head, you don't go to jail. It's a fight, so that can happen. It's in like whatever, it's in the rules. It's not your fault. You don't go to prison when you leave the octagon. So I guess that's up to me whether I kill them or not. So I drown Carla. I wouldn't kill her, just drown her. And then, they have to like, that's what it is. Okay, listen. So at the end of each fight, when my opponent is gurgling and like, dying, the referee would come over, and they're kind of just like giving her, so like this kid's screaming in the audience, no music, real cold. Obviously their coaches are kind of crying, their family's crying. And then, like, I don't know who it is, we'd have to have a designated, like, lifeguard, a couple lifeguards. They dive in amongst all the debris and blood. I'm still, like, I wonder what my sound is. Someone got a hold of that thing. What the hell are you doing letting him fight? Dana, what the fuck is going on? This guy's the best. The reigning, defending. So Carla will be drowned, but then brought back to life in the cage. And then I'd go straight to Francis, drown Francis. Probably let him punch through me a few times just to let people know that like I can absorb any sort of power. Yes, and then Francis too. I think I'd turn myself into I guess it's a move. It's a water tornado. Francis would be absorbed by said tornado and drowned. As you know, drowned. So he'd be dead. I at some point I think I'd want to be released into almost the sprinkler system for one entrance and be dripped into the arena and then kind of come together in the octagon. So like the audience would be like, what the fuck? It's not fucking water. It's, you know, like Venom. That's a fucking man. That's a fucking... Derek, that's a fucking person. Oh my fucking God. It's moving. Here we go, folks. The most entertaining fucking thing in sports right now. I don't even know how to describe this thing, Joe. It's really fucking weird, man. Oh, God, here he comes. Escorted to the ring by 4 lifeguards. Doctor, who will, in the case of a victory, have to resuscitate his opponent. I'm telling you, man, I don't like to see those resuscitations. Really, really tough to watch. How is this fucking legal? Oh, God, he's coming past. God, the presence. How does this thing weigh in at 250 pounds? Because I fit in a tiny aquarium and then I just pop out of whatever size I need to be to make weight. And then I'd fight Brock Lesnar and drown him. And then Khabib drowned. Kamaru Usman drowned. Izzy, I would drown. Now that would be interesting because he's supposed to be like, you know, a master of the elements and the style bender. I would drown him. He would be drowned. I wouldn't kill him, I'd just drown him. Khabib would be drowned. Respectfully drowned, but drowned. Amanda Nunes drowned. There's no one from this planet who's going to be able to deal with me. It would have to be interdimensional to be able to deal with Sammy the Squid. It's not me, you understand. It's my, I guess, alter ego. But we'll get into that another time because I want to do 5 minutes on a new podcast that's come up. So Maxx Chewning launched his new podcast, Don't Be Sour. Maxx Chewning is a creator that I've admired for a very long time, purely because the guy's output is ridiculous. I'm doing 1 podcast a week here, and that's 30 minutes and doesn't need to be edited that much, if at all. And he's been putting out 3 vlogs of like incredible quality for like the last 5-6 years. And that's through, you know, moving states, opening companies. He now has Sour Strips, which is like one of the big, like probably the biggest influencer company in the world, or out of those fitness crowd at least right now, and like definitely has the biggest scalability. And he just launched a podcast called Don't Be Sour, which is obviously on brand. And he had Christian and Heidi on, man, and I just wanted to basically say, 1, very interesting conversations. it's very different from the Maxx we get in his vlogs and stuff, because he is usually so energetic and like goofy and shit in his vlogs. But his in the podcast, he very much wants to like pace the conversation, let the guest be the star. And I think that'll start to get looser and looser as he keeps doing pods, and he'll be able to do both and still be like, you know, a bit loose. I'm interested to see if he'll do it on his own, because that's when you know if someone's a podcaster. If he can sit there and entertain millions with just him and a microphone, like me, then maybe he's cut out for this. But he had Christian Heidi on. Man, Heidi Summers is fucking so impressive, man. I thought Christian was making racks, but Heidi got mad. Heidi is Christian Guzman's girlfriend, and Christian was episode 1, Heidi was episode 2, and Heidi's making racks. Hella racks. She said she made over 15 million. Buff Bunny Collection made over 15 million last year. You wouldn't even know. Fair fucks for keeping it all like, not just like flaunting all her shit, because that's hella racks. But the podcasts are good listens. You should go and listen to them. Quality is fucking unreal. I'm jealous of the quality. But there's no bells and whistles. He hasn't like, there is like they drink and shit or like have shots up, but there's no real gimmicks to it. Do you know what I mean? He's basing it around the conversation, and his access to guests is fucking outrageous. Could you imagine all your mates who are just like millionaires? So like obviously I'll have Phil on. Phil's future millionaire, and my brother says he's going to be a millionaire, and I'm gonna bring in 45k annually at some point in my life. I know that. I believe in that. And but like, imagine just being like, hey, Christian, do you want to come on and talk about your empire? Heidi, would you like to come on and talk about your empire? Hey, Sholly, you want to come on and talk about your empire? Sholly Coker is a friend of theirs as well, who was in Naka Power, which is a brand also doing very well. I like you. But it's a good listen, and I think it's going to do well, man. I think like anything he seems to do, as long as he fucking, I guess, keeps his frequency up and gets good access to guests, he'll be flying. And it's an easier type of content to do than than doing like YouTube videos the whole time. So we'll just see. A lot of people start podcasts, and then, I'm saying that with 30 fucking episodes, but like you get into it and they're like, fuck, it gets kind of hard after like the first one. I only do 30-minute episodes. Imagine doing like 90-minute ones. But it does, I'd say, get a bit monotonous doing it for like years. But we will find out, because I'm never stopping until I'm dead. Until I'm dead. Until I kill you. How the fuck are you still alive? Why won't you die? Okay, folks. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the Sammy the Squid clip. That's fucking funny. Didn't plan on going into that today, but it's good stuff. Like the podcast. Subscribe to the podcast. If you're an audio-only listener, get over to the YouTube channel and like the video. Please, it helps. Alright, I'm at 20 seconds left until 30 minutes, and that's when I'm done, so until then, I will see you all in 7 days. Peace, love, prosperity.